everyone. This is Lisa Long, and what I want to talk to you today about is aliens. Yeah, they're real. Yeah, they are. Now, there's all different kinds, all different dimensions. You don't have to freak out about it. They've been here for thousands and thousands of years, if not longer. And you can prove that to yourself by just Googling UFOs and pictures and paintings in the Vatican and stuff. If you look on my Facebook wall, you can see a lot of this stuff I'm going to talk about. I put links there. And I'll put some links down below too, so it helps you do your research. Also, all the ancient cultures on Earth have carvings of beings with spaceships and stuff like that. So you don't have to worry and think, oh, bad, these guys are going to come eat us. Now, there might be some bad ones, because we're going to talk about that and how to tell the difference. And you've heard of channels, right? I talk to angels. I tune into different high-level consciousness beings. Those are all technically aliens. Angels are technically aliens. Jesus, technically alien. I mean, if he's no longer in a body as Jesus, he's technically an alien. So alien in this context is like a non-terrestrial, someone who isn't like, incarnated on Earth. Now, we also don't know if some of them are coming from inner Earth, and that's quite possible. I haven't seen anything that really makes me think about that. I've done research for over 30 years on this topic. I used to have big websites, ettruth.com, galacticrelations.com, and I had huge conspiracy websites. So I've really spent years diving down these different theories and these holes. And they can get pretty deep and they can get pretty dark, because everybody's creating their own reality. And you can also create things in your reality you don't want. So if you think of this topic and you start feeling fear and terror, then just turn this off. It's not for you. You're not ready. And but if it's kind of like, oh, this is interesting, she's weird, but this is interesting, then you might want to listen a little further. I don't know if you've done any research into, and most of you, a lot of my friends and people who know me, they know they're researchers and they're light workers, and so they want to bring the light to the world. And that's always been my goal. And when I found out that they were hiding a lot of stuff from me, pissed me off. I'm going to find out what this is. That was my motivation. Okay, they're hiding this. I'm going to go find out what it is. And so a lot of it is to suppress your psychic abilities. And what I mean by that, and that's one of the reasons I focus on helping people tie into their intuitive guidance, is because when the aliens do show up, which they will at some point pretty soon, in a bigger way to more people, when you're psychic and you have your intuitive guidance clear, then you're like, oh, okay, hi, how are you? And you can feel them, that you can tell if they're good guys or bad guys. If you are aware and psychic and they're bad guys, they don't have your best interest in mind, then, or they're evil, then you'll feel it. You go, nope, not going there. So you have your guidance, you have your awareness awake. But if you can keep the people asleep, you can manipulate them, you can control them, you can tell them these guys are bad guys when they're really good guys. Or you can tell them these guys are good guys when they're really bad guys. You can be easily tricked and manipulated. And I see so much of it. It's like they'll put little videos on, and I watched one today where it's like, oh, this is this TR3 whatever. I'll put the link below, TR3B. It's one of our ships, one of our back engineered technologies. And the first link I saw, which I won't share, they showed some photos and videos, and it looked like, oh yeah, they're showing what's there. And then they said at the end, but this could all be a hoax. And see, they leave you that little twist at the end. And even if you're thinking, well, this might be true, that little twist goes into your subconscious mind that, oh, that's a hoax. So you got to kind of understand how they manipulate your minds on purpose. They're trained, they know how to do it. They have huge budgets. It's called the PSYOPs budget. They know how to manipulate people to believe whatever they want them to believe. And if you're not psychic and sensitive, it's easier to manipulate you. Now, one thing they did is and this was way back with Hitler, they introduced fluoride into the water. And so if you're like, oh no, she's one of these fluoride people, Google it. Fluoride keeps you kind of docile. It keeps the people docile. And the fluoride, there's a real fluoride. I don't have it right here, but I do have a rock of fluoride, and that's a mineral, and it's pretty. It's kind of light blue, but a lot of the fluoride from my research, I haven't done it lately, but from my research years ago, the fluoride they were putting in the water, and I don't know about toothpaste, but it was in the water, was a byproduct of making aluminum. So if you want to be drinking a byproduct of making aluminum, I would suggest, yeah, probably not the healthiest thing you could do for yourself. And it's not that great for your teeth. So I use non-fluoride toothpaste. Now, what happens is your pineal gland is your third eye, and that ties into your awareness and your psychic abilities. And if the fluoride atrophies that, you can actually see photos on Google of pineal glands that have been atrophied, so that the people, it's harder for them to tune into their guidance. And I went to Rome, I don't know, like 7 years ago or something. And I know that the pineal gland looks like a pine cone. And that's part of the secret knowledge, is that it looks like a pine cone. And you go to the Vatican and you go right in the middle, and there's this giant, huge pine cone. I'll put a link below. There's this pine cone, because they're telling you, we know what this is. Everything's in plain sight. When you go in the Vatican, there's also a room with all the paintings, and I'll put a link on that, with flying saucers in the paintings. There's so many things that humanity has been not told. You've not been told the truth, and this can get really deep. If you study the Sumerian texts, you'll find out that in the Bible, and if you're Christian and you're really strictly Christian, you might want to turn this off. But in the Bible, it says, we have created man in our image. Well, the Bible's Cliff Notes, totally edited for popular consumption. And they took out, there's lost books of the Bible. You can Google it. They're all over the place and everything. And what they did in the Sumerian text, which is cuneiform, where they take a little stick and they do it in clay, and they make these little words in clay. It's some of our earliest writings, at least this go around with civilizations. And they've dated it to at least like 1600, 2000 years ago. Well, it says in that cuneiform tablets, and there's some of them are broken, so they got like 4,000 of them at once, and then they had to find more of them, and they're hidden. A lot of them are hidden. They're hidden on purpose, so we don't know where they are and what's that. But people keep leaking stuff. But like, it'll be cracked, and there'll be a part of the clay tablet gone, and then they'll find another tablet that'll have that part. So they put the story together, and in the Sumerian tablet, it says, we have created man in our image so he can plow our field. And I'll put a link below, and you can see how humanity, that's why they have the missing link. So when we went to school, they had like Neanderthals and then modern humans, and they didn't have the link. Well, it's because the link was a genetic hybrid, which is us, modern humans. And that's what it says. That's why they took Adam's rib. No, well, that was for the woman, but when they took the blood and they made Adam out of the blood of clay, well, in the Sumerian tablets, they took the alien DNA from the beings that came to Earth, and they mixed it with, I think it was Cro-Magnon man, but I'm not sure. They called them dark-headed ones, and they mixed that, and then they created modern humans. And over time, this can get really deep. So there's, in the Bible it says Anunnaki. That's in the Bible, and then it's also in this stuff about who they were. And then the gods came to Earth. Well, they called them the gods. They came to Earth, and they GMO'd humans so that humans could plow their fields and do the work and mine gold and stuff like that. So this gets really deep. Please don't let them put the lid on it again. They've had saucers and back engineered stuff since before 47, probably 42 or earlier, and they back engineer it. So that's, if you'll remember, we used to have TVs with the old tubes in them, right? And then all at once we got transistors. That was back engineered from alien ships. So we went from tubes to transistors and then to computers. So the computer you're looking at, your cell phone, Velcro, beam weapons, and Kevlar, and so much more is back engineered from crashed ships. And the clothing that the alien bodies had, the EBEs. And this stuff is all real. It's been out there for years. They just keep suppressing it and making people into crazy people. And the people who know are not crazy. People don't, they threaten to give up a lot of these people. They told them, if you talk, the military people, I'm putting those on, just look at the one I have on I'll put the link below where they talk about the nuclear shutdowns, where they actually shut down the nuclear. They came in and shut down our nuclear silos. They shut down with, they had no idea. We had no idea how they did it, but they showed us, we're not going to let you blow up things. And now this is my opinion. So that's all. You can find that'll be online. There's videos, there's testimony, there's documents. That's all proven. What I remember is, before I came to Earth, that there were a huge concern in the universe that this little dark planet had nuclear weapons, and something needed to be done about it. And so they called for volunteers, and thousands, if not millions now, of light workers are on this planet, because we came in to bring the light to this planet, to help people understand that that is not really allowed. What happened when we set off the nuclear weapons, and this is, some people have talked about it, but this is my personal understanding too, is it doesn't, see, a lot of these beings are interdimensional. They're between dimensions. So they're on a higher dimension. A lot of them, they're high level consciousness. And a lot of them don't need ships. I mean, that's kind of old school, but at a lower level, they need more ships. So the more solid they are in the third dimension, I would be more cautious of them. That's how you if they're in a third dimensional ship, and it, I'll put the link on the one that's ours that we know of, plus the Aurora is ours. You'll see it in the video, but they're we back engineered that from the crashed ships. So, but you have to kind of, if they're in the third dimension, then they're just kind of like us. They're like, there's good ones and there's not so good ones. So they could be either way. So don't just think, oh, these are the most, here's the aliens, they're here to save us. No, aliens are not here to save us. If they respect you, they know you're a God being and you have sovereignty, and they're not going to try to save you or anything. But if they're trying to, oh, I'll give you this and I'll give you that and I'll save you if you do this and that, then nah, that's not good. That's manipulation, and that's coercion, and that's not understanding and not respecting the sovereignty of who you are. And so the higher level beings will always respect your sovereignty, because if they didn't, they wouldn't be that high level. They would drop their level, and they're going to respect your sovereignty and expect you to respect their sovereignty. And so when you're psychic, you can tell, you can, like if a ship landed and it was in the third dimension, you could feel it if it was good, or you could feel it if it wasn't good. So it's, so the idea is to tune into your guidance, eat organic if you can, as much as you can, get rid of fluoride if you can. If it's in the water, then get a water filter, and use non-fluoride toothpaste, and meditate every day as much as you can. And your guidance will let you know what's the path forward, because things are going to get strange here with AI and disclosure and everything coming forward. There are also other things that they might try to say, give us a lot of money because we have to reunite the whole planet against an alien invasion. Well, that's all a lie. And I'll put that link below. And that's just for them to get us to give them more money and go into fear. And that's ridiculous. The aliens have been here for thousands of years. They GMO'd this genetic code. Most of them consider us their children. And the other ones that don't, well, avoid them. Don't think about them. And also, if you fall into fear about it, then yeah, totally ignore it. But if you're into curiosity, start looking at it. It's really interesting when you look at the Sumerian texts and all. I mean, even the Native American Indians and everything, that they knew they were from the stars. All the Native people know where they came from. So it's not just us light workers. It's like we came in, and this is a challenging planet, and we did it on purpose. So if you think, oh, they did this to us, no, you chose your reality. This is like a video game. You incarnated into this video game because you knew it would be challenging. And when you know it's like a video game because you're eternal and you live forever, then it takes a whole different spin on it. But if you understand that a lot of what's going on is to keep you head down, working and barely surviving, so that you don't get your head up and see what's going on and stand in your truth of your divinity and your sovereignty, then they can control you, which they've been for a long time. And you'll say, who's they? Well, Google it. But at least in this round, from what my research was started from the Sumerian stuff, and you can't blame them. I mean, if you're going to a primitive planet and you land it, they gave us agriculture, they gave us the canals, they gave us language, they gave us written language, they gave us all this stuff. They put it, if you study history, all these things were actually brought in a whole thing. It's not like Egypt developed over time. It's like, boom, all at once it had language and everything. And so the same thing with other different countries. If you read Zachariah Sitchin's books, The 12th Planet is really good, and it'll help wake you up. And it's easy to digest. And when I read it 20 years ago or so, I got the latest translation of the Sumerian text, and I compared it so that I could see, is this guy's translation way off, or is it close? And it's pretty close. But I'm sure there's newer translations now. So you just keep looking at it and understanding. Oh, they're in the Bible. The Bible even talks about it, right? The son of the gods, and then the son of man. They talk about the divisions and stuff when they started having sex with humans. And it says in the Bible, they found them nice or fine or something. I haven't read it in a long time, but that's what they're talking about. And then they had a hybrid race, another hybrid race, which is the blue bloods, which are still the controlling interests in a lot of places. right? And they're not supposed to have sex outside their genetic lineage, so that's why they all intermarry. And there's so much fun stuff going on that once you start seeing it, you're like, oh, that makes sense. Oh, now I understand why. But just understand you came in here on purpose to bring the light. So it's not a bad thing. It's what we chose. And that'll give you your power back, and you go, oh, this is interesting. Oh, this is interesting. I'm going to share this. I'm going to share this. And that ignites your curiosity, and it expands your consciousness. And that's why we're here. So thank you for your time. And I could go on for days, but please watch some of these videos. And when you see the news going, oh, poo-poo, these people are weird. Yeah, they're paid off. Either that or they're really dumb. So have a good day and take care. God bless.